don't be getting alcohol at 11 in the morning. Perfect. Just for a late night when you're stuck at home. I just want to taste it all. So I've been in there like literally 10 times in the last month, and they're probably like, this guy has a problem.
The world of whiskey can be confusing, and that is exactly why I want to explore a little bit of it together. So over the last year and a half, I've gotten really into whiskey. It's never been a huge thing of mine, and then I just randomly decided, you know what? I'm gonna go all in. Within the last few months, I have accumulated quite the collection. It really is genuinely for research purposes in my own perspective. And everyone's like, yo, Josh, you should talk about this. Well,
here we are.
It's gonna be a grand old time. I just spit so much. So with all that said, let's do this, shall we?
Okay, so look, there are many types of whiskey. We'll just stick to a few different kinds. We're gonna talk about bourbon, Scotch, rye whiskey, and Japanese whiskey. Let's start off with bourbon. This is an American style whiskey. It's made of at least 51% corn, fun fact. I've got a cheaper one, about $20, Weller whiskey. For dramatic effect, I'll put it in a Rotel can. Let's give it a little taste.
I don't know why I'm doing this. Oh, I can smell the Rotel. It's not bad. I wonder if the Rotel might actually be a good addition.
Now for a mid-tier bourbon, about $50, we've got Angel's Envy. To let that flavor come out, I'm gonna serve it neat, which means, we're not gonna add anything to it. Totally room temperature, just leave it as is.
Righto. So this is, as of recently, one of my most favorite mid-tier bourbons on the market. Recommended to me by Andrew Ray, binging with light pour. In most cases, you don't really want to add ice to stuff like this, just as a tip. So it's smooth, there's not too much heat. This is a really great sipping whiskey for, under $60. It's very good.
Now on the $100 bottle plus, we've got the Jefferson's Grand Selection Pichon. Now here we've got a frozen stainless steel ball, which is literally just to keep it chilled without diluting it. I personally like this one cold, it's just my preference. Give it a little taste.
Now we're on to the most expensive choice of all. This is around $120. It's not the most expensive whiskey on the market, but it's above the $100 mark, therefore we'll consider it an expensive bourbon. Chateau Pichon, extremely limited. Super oaky, vanilla, caramel almost. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's so good that it makes my mouth water when I drink it. Excessively, I'm constantly swallowing so I can talk without being like, I feel like this guy. I feel like a guy with one of those white toupees, perfectly buttoned up collar, and I just feel like a man. I need a cigar. That's how you feel when you drink this.
Now another American whiskey that I like is rye whiskey. Now in the United States, it needs to be over 51% rye in order to be called rye, and by doing that, you get a spicier, fruitier whiskey.
I only have one rye. That's fine. That's all right. Oh.
That's nice.
I feel like it's something similar to a peated sort of whiskey. Very nice. It's very sweet on the finish. I'm a big fan of this.
Now next up, we're going to talk about Scotch. It's a malt or green whiskey that's made in Scotland, and that's Scotch. But the way that it's made is mandated by law, so that's pretty cool. Scotch is my least explored territory, but so far, this is the one I enjoy.
So, the Dalmore. This is a 15-year aged Scotch. Very nice. It smells good. There's a reason why this is this full. I don't have anything else to say about that.
Now last but not least, I can't just not talk about Japanese whiskey.
We're on to the Japanese whiskeys. That was extraordinarily coherent for how I feel right now, because genuinely, there are more than one camera, which is true, there are two, but I see three. Give that a little swirly. You know what? I don't want to be zooted in, which I already am. I have much more to deal with, so. It's so harsh, the most harsh.
Right here.
Yeah, it's good. All right. So there are many varieties of whiskey. We'll stick with these. We should make some whiskey cocktails.
Now before we make any cocktails, we need to make a bartender's best friend, simple syrup. Very, very simple. It's a 1-to-1 ratio of water and sugar. So in this pot, I'm putting 1 cup or 230 grams of sugar and 1 cup or 240 milliliters of filtered water. Then just bring that up over medium heat, stirring often until the sugar is completely dissolved. Immediately cool it down, and that's it. That's your simple syrup. Of course, don't forget the most important part, label, label, label. store in the refrigerator for maximum shelf life. Now before we make the classic old fashioned, we need to discuss our cherries, and not the ones you're thinking about. Now for any OG cocktail that calls for a maraschino cherry, they're talking about this. This is a Luxardo cherry. If you want to be called Big Papa, you gotta use this. Now to make the old fashioned is very simple. 1 generous bar spoon of simple syrup, about a teaspoon and a half. You're gonna do 3 to 4 dashes of Angostura bitters, or to taste, 2 ounces of your bourbon of choice. Give that a nice little stir, add your ice, stir once more to chill, and then garnish it with an orange peel. I'll kind of brush it with a little bit of a flame from a lighter. Squeeze it lightly, you'll see that oil pop out. It's like a little orange rind fire dance. It's nice. And 1 to 2 Luxardo cherries. Sometimes I'll add a little splash of the Luxardo syrup. It's totally up to you.
My favorite drink of all time. That is very good. Chateau Pichon.
I love
Kentucky straight bourbon finished in Bordeaux wine barrels.
It's really good.
Now next up is a whiskey highball. So you're gonna serve with a nice tall glass, add in a good amount of ice, the good ice. Into that you're gonna add 4 ounces of Topo Chico, or really any sparkling water or club soda. Obviously, Topo Chico is the ultimate flex. 2 ounces of scotch, and a nice twist of lemon peel.
I mean, I like it, but it's also not my favorite drink.
Ooh, that's yummy.
You like that? Mm-hmm. Really?
No.
Okay.
Next up is gonna be a whiskey sour. Fill up a shaker a little over halfway with ice. Into that, you're gonna add 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lemon juice. I used Meyer lemon. Half an ounce of simple syrup, 2 ounces of bourbon, and optionally a half ounce of egg white. I know it sounds gross. It's a thickener and it gives it that nice fluffy topping. Now just shake that violently and vigorously until very, very, very cold. Straight into a coupe glass, and there you go. Optionally, you can also add a little bit of Angostura bitters on top and try to make a little heart pattern, and then realize that that didn't really work out so good. So maybe don't do that next time. But yeah.
That's a spicy meatball. One time I called a bartender a mixologist. He did not like that. So thank you very much.
One quick note, I filmed this on 2 different days, okay? So don't think that I drank all this all at once. I had to take a little break in between. But do you want to know what else has to take a break because it has a low tolerance to alcohol? B-roll.
Guys, and that is it. So we made whiskey cocktails, we tasted a bunch of whiskeys, we put it all together. I don't drink enough to have a good enough tolerance to handle that, all right? And my body was like, your hand-eye coordination's not quite there, innit? As I've said in the last few videos, I hope everyone's staying nice and safe and clean, washing your hands, being good people. Don't forget that you can text me at 818-452-2640. Yes, that is my number. I can text you. It's a cool sort of new platform that I'm playing with content stuff that involves texting. It's cool. Anyway, with all that said, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Oh, also, did you see the thing that I put back there? Look at that. Not just the play button. Flex. I needed the space. The equipment was getting out of control and we're running out of space in this apartment, so we might be getting a new one very soon. And by we are. I am. It's happening. So I'm very nervous about it because I want it to be perfect. And I want it to look perfect for you guys. So